Here's what happened. Instead of abandoning the Warren and moving the units to this hex, I decided to do the reverse. The units that were here, move them on top of the Warren for a couple of reasons. It puts me out of range of this stack. There's a number, your range is the word I'm looking for. The range in this little box, this number 2 here, when it's has a color around it, it means that the range is halved when the distance is more than 1 hex away. So I don't count 2 hexes, I basically count 1 hex away. So that means this stack, and all of them are the same, I believe. Just let me triple check. 2, 2, and this one is a 1. So yes. So what that does is that eliminates these guys from the battle, whereas if I would have been here, I could include this stack, this stack, this stack, and this stack over here. As it stands, only the air unit can come help. This one is a 4 with yellow around it, so it's 1, 2, and so it's out of range. And then underneath I think was a 2 as well. So yeah, that's why that decision was made. Over here, nothing happened over here. Over here, we just, like I said already, just stack these units to assist and make it more difficult. Stack the units over there. And there's where we stand. So now it's the combat phase and it's pretty clear. Again, I'm going to reread through the combat just to see. You can launch 1 attack. I believe I can do this. This unit attacking here and this unit attacking here. Both of them attacking the same hex. Even though they don't share the same hex, I believe you still combine them to 1 attack. And then this obviously would offer some support. So that's one battle that's going to happen for sure. Another one, we're going to try to deal with this in Revolt spot, and I'm going to read about that. That'll be an interesting one. Learn new rules there. This battle will take place, this battle will take place, and then that one. So we've got 5 battles total that'll take place, and we'll see how that works out for me. I'm worried that I've spread myself, or that I've spread the Union a little too thin, but that's what's happened. So it'll be interesting to make it out of this whole round, to see once we restart and start with that Union recruitment phase and the rebel political phase, how that's affected all of those decisions that get made again, those 12 decisions or whatever they were. It seemed like there was a whole list of them. We've gone over combat already, so I won't go over it again. I'll come back when there's all the fighting is over and we see what sort of damage I've done. Things continue to become clearer as I play through the game. Here's exactly why I shouldn't have done what I did. The ever popular modifiers to the die roll. So as it stands, this unit, this support here versus that stack brings the odds to 3-1 for our favor. So as the rebel force, as far as defending, the 2 units that I stacked there, I should have left there and they could have offered support. What happens is the units that are being attacked, it's a modifier of, for each full unit that's in that stack, there's a modifier of adding 1 for each one to the combatant's roll. Plus if the hex is a settlement, which it is, it's a Warren, that also adds 1. So we're looking at a total of, let me just make sure these are all full units. Yeah, they're all full. So we're looking at a modifier of 5. So in the case of the defender, all he needs to do, let's see, 3-1 unbroken. All he needs to do is roll anything basically, because 7, so a 2 or more, and it's going to put us at a 5-step loss, which is going to effectively knock us down 1 unit. So if I was smart, I would have kept those separate and just used the 2 to offer support because they were within range, and not done anything else. So as I said, things become clear. So basically I've boned myself, so to speak, as the rebel player. But such is life. That's what happens when you learn a game. So that's exactly why I could go back in time and tell myself in those previous little videos this information. It would be spectacular. There we go. So let the slaughter begin. Here's the aftermath of how that all went. Pretty much as expected. Actually didn't end up completely losing pieces. I lost, for this battle here, 1 was taken off the board. The other ones just went down 1 step, so I still have 3 units, which is good. And then the attackers had to go down 2 steps, so 1 each was turned over. So they didn't completely lose a force on the Union side, and they made a pretty good dent in the rebel forces there. This one about the same. 1, I think 2, 3. I believe this was one where one of the Union forces had to be eliminated. I don't remember where this one came from. The second. Yeah, it might have been here. I believe so. I believe 1 Union force got eliminated, and then we had some knockdowns. No rebel forces got eliminated, but all 4 had to be turned over. That's where we stand there. Up here, about the same. A couple of hits to the Union, but more hits to the rebels. This was the one that was the most interesting as far as combat went. Let me just bring these pieces back in here. So this one had the partisan chits stacked, and now I understand why they have explained that the partisan goes on top of the revolt marker. Basically, those pieces act as the units on it. The in revolt marker takes the place of any information on the dome hex itself. So it no longer has a zone of control, it no longer has a range, it no longer has an attack strength, it just has a defense strength. So the defense strength of this is 12. So that chit basically acts as the dome itself. So when you're attacking a unit, or when you're attacking a hex rather, if there's units on it, you're attacking the units to eliminate them before you can actually attack the dome or settlement hex itself. These were only 1 step. You can see there is their ruin marker on the other side. These were 1-step units, and I think their loss was heavy. It was 3, yeah, so was it 0 effect to me? Yeah, I think it's 0 effect to me and a 3-step loss for them, which eliminated them. And as we learned earlier on, if there's any steps left over, they just cease to exist. You don't hold them over, you don't apply it to the hex itself or the settlement, you just lose it. Either way, they've eliminated the 2 partisans that are on there, but I seem to remember there being a step during some of the earlier phases where the rebels they place a partisan on every in revolt space, which will just kind of continue supplying this guy, which is a bit of a pain. I guess the way around that is having a couple of units attacking, so 1 unit set up to attack the partisan and hopefully eliminate them, and then a 2nd unit that's there that then can attack the hex itself. I'd have to read about that, because I think when you're talking about combat, you have to state all of the combats possible, and that is one that you could never tell if it was going to be possible, because you have that barrier in the way, basically. So I don't know how to get around that one. We'll see. I guess the hope is that maybe you can coax the partisans off the space, possibly. I don't know. I do not know. Either way, that's where we stand. So I'm going to make sure that, as I've done up there, make sure that I replace these properly and put those on top. There we go. That ends that phase, the Union combat phase. Now we move to the Union exploitation phase, which I believe is a movement. The Rebel reinforcement phase, which I don't think is going to be anything. The game turn marker has to be on one of these Warren spots or months to be able to get backup units, and it is not. July 24-19 has nothing, so I believe that'll end that. And then we just move the game turn, and then we start all over again. But I'll read about the exploitation phase. We'll come back, have a talk about that, and then we'll be close to one complete turn over with. There's a final look at the map as it stands right now. We'll start with our favorite side of the map here. Tightened up the units. Again, feel like I'm just going in blind. Moved these guys from their warren here. They're still in their clan hold, but moved them across the mountains to bring them that little bit closer. Did the same here. They were they on this hex here, or were they up there at Mingo? They might have been up there at Mingo 3. No, they weren't. They were probably there. So moved them a little bit closer. They're still in their clan hold. Tightened up these units here, brought them in close. Decided to leave these guys where they are. Leave everything else. Then abandoned my dome down here to pursue that idea of filling in the opposite side. Let me just recount that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, wait a sec. 9, 10, 11, 12. They were actually there. That's a miscount on my side because of that zone of control again. So they should have actually ended up here. Either way, they can be played as two separate units anyway. It doesn't really matter position there or there. Kind of fill in that idea. Left this guy where he was because this is that bubble hex, and it just feels like there should always be somebody on this bubble hex for now until I absolutely need them. I'm sort of trying to let go of the idea of having people stay where they are. It doesn't make much sense. We need to fight these units. We need to get them off the map. We also need to attack hexes is the other thing, or attack settlements rather. And the first step of that again is killing off the enemy, so we can get in there. So we'll see how this strategy plays out. Moved these guys up there, stacked those two air units. Did some tightening up around here, not too much really, but there you have it. So Rebel reinforcement phase, let's go and have a look together. I'm pretty sure it's as I said. The Rebel player checks the turn record track to see if he was due reinforcements this game turn. If the box occupied by the game turn marker contains a colored square, the Rebel player does get reinforcements and should proceed to step 2 of this phase. Otherwise, the remainder of the phase is skipped and play proceeds to the game turn record phase, which it skips, so it goes there. One other thing to mention for the Union exploitation phase, the Union player moves any or all of his supplied mobile and land units up to their full movement rating, paying terrain and zone of control entry costs as described in Part 6. So they're allowed to do their full value. And I should check that supply line again, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. This clan hold here, maybe I completely shit the bed on this one. The Can Island clan hold was a Rebel Players clan hold. The Union had this Uti clan hold here. What's under this? No, there's nothing under that. So I can't actually trace a line of supply with these 8s, because that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which doesn't get me back to this Warren hex, or to this, or to that. So I may have shit the bed on this one. Well, we're gonna leave it for now, because I can't quite remember where those were, and I know after watching a lot of these videos, all of you were saying, well, idiot, you were just there, or whatever the hex was, because you've seen it 15 seconds ago, whereas I have been hours and hours past that moment. So I'm gonna have to be really careful about that. I'm going to declare full on right now that I've cheated during this phase right now that I'm looking at it again. These ones are okay because Pazzo is right here, so that'll be fine for these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's good. We're okay with that one. This one we're okay with because these guys came from the Bama clan hold, and the Zarkin was a Union clan hold. So they can trace their line of supply back to these hexes here, and for a matter of options, they can also trace it back to this one. 2, 4, oh, hey, look at me, oh no, talking shit. 2, 4, 6, they have to trace it back to this one, to Dolls. They don't have enough to get to Victoria or the bubble. Let me check this one up here. Scotia clan hold was the Rebels. Noisia was the Union. 2, 4, 6, 8. See, they can't get back either, those 8s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Or do you count the train? It's just, is it 12 hexes, or just, maybe it's 12 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If that's the case and it's just 8 hexes, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They can, maybe that's what it was instead. I feel like I'm making up rules now, but I'm gonna have to do some reading about the line of supply again. I might be remembering it wrong, that you don't count the terrain effects, you just count the number of hexes. But anyway, there you go. So basically what we're at now is the game turn record phase, and if the PI level indicated on the political index is less than 5 or greater than 45, which it's not, it's at 25. The game is over and the winner is determined as described in part 5. Otherwise, proceed to step 2. If it's a December game turn, remove all nomad hordes. It's not a December. Sorry about that, insufficient space. Had to just delete a couple of things there and make some room. I was saying that we were on this step 3, reading over step 3. So step 2 was it's not the December game turn, so we don't have to worry about that. If New Denver contains a ruin or revolt marker, the PI stage is B, C, D, or E. Or if the Union player has previously activated his orbital strike station, skip this step. Otherwise, The Union player must announce whether he is activating the world's Union system of missile-armed orbital strike. Okay, so that doesn't affect us either because we're in the C PI stage, so we skip past that. If the PI stage is C, D, or E, which it is, so we skip that. The last thing is move the game turn marker ahead 1 box on the turn record track to indicate the passage of time and continue play with the Union recruitment phase of the next game turn. So that's what we'll do. And that sucker is up here. So we'll go to August 24, 19. I'm going to just kind of get everything paperwork wise set up for the beginning of the turn again. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just go through the first couple of steps. The Union recruitment phase and the rebel political phase. We'll have a look at that now that we've done 1 complete game turn, and we'll see how that affects things, and then we'll probably call it quits. I won't take you through the entire game from beginning to end. This video is more of just wanting to give you a taste of what this game was like, and hopefully coax you into discovering some of these Ares Magazine's games if you haven't already. I'll be back.